All right, so in this program, we have a couple of key things that we say are really important to do. So we have number one, the chat, number two, your weekly check ins, and number three, making sure you get through the modules. Now, for some people, these feel tedious, they feel unnecessary, they feel like it's a lot of work, or you're too busy, or how am I going to make time for that, or it's confusing, or the tech part of it is frustrating. And here's the thing, those things are all true for some people. However, the ability to work through those obstacles and to get around those is a crucial skill. The skill that gives you the ability to work around those is a crucial skill to get the results you want. Now, if the tech part of the program is giving you challenges and you're struggling with it and you can't figure it out and you're getting really, really frustrated, that level of frustration that's coming from relatively simple tech challenges, I don't want to totally dismiss it, but from tech challenges in the program that we will help with, that level of frustration is going to be there in other areas of life, whether it's the TV remote not working or something that gets screwed up scheduling a flight somewhere or something that gets screwed up when you're trying to take your car in for an oil change. There are going to be frustrations in life, and if that tech stuff is driving you to that level of frustration, that tells us that we've got something going on that needs to be addressed because your stress level is getting taken out of control by that stressor that is, in the grand scheme of things, a relatively minor stressor. So that's going to be happening 50 times a week or 50 times a month or whatever. And then you're going to have this extra stress load to deal with that's going to totally throw off your ability to deal with the stressors that we actually want to be dealing with, like a caloric deficit for fat loss, like our workouts, like lack of sleep if you have a young kid. Those stressors are not going to be tolerated well because you've already filled up your stress bucket with an inability to tolerate stress of something tech related or whatever other frustration. Again, the tech thing is not the specific thing, it's a symptom of a larger problem. And again, you're not a bad person for this. I get frustrated with tech stuff sometimes. I actually had a period 6 months ago or so where I was dealing with excess frustration with that. And it's something you have to work through, and it's something that it's a sign of something else going on. It's not just the tech thing. So that's the tech stuff. Second one is the chat. That ability to have the mental capacity to get into the chat, that tells us you actually have some mental bandwidth left. If you don't have the brain power to get into the chat, and again, not calling you stupid or anything like that, if you don't have the brain power because you're exerting your brain so excessively elsewhere, because you've got other things that are just go, 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 or whatever, that tells us, again, that we've got something going on. If you do not have the brain power left at the end of your day to go into that chat, how are you going to have time to do food prep? How are you going to have time to do anything else related to a healthy lifestyle? How are you going to have the willpower when you've got that crazy craving for a cookie at the end of the day that you know is going to make you feel like garbage and you're going to have achy joints or whatever because of it, but it just tastes so good in the moment? When we are mentally exhausted, we are instant gratification seeking machines. We go for that instant gratification as fast as possible. And the only thing stopping us is willpower. And again, if your mental battery bank's at the bottom, you're both going to crave more and you're going to have no willpower to resist it. So of course you're not where you want to be physically. Of course you're dealing with whatever symptoms of achy joints or stress or whatever else is going on. It could be brain inflammation, brain fog, it could be excess weight. There are a million different things happen when we eat unhealthy, when we eat those instant gratification foods. Maybe you're lucky and you only have excess weight from it and you're the lucky one that doesn't have all the inflammatory causes. That's still the same thing that we're talking about, that stress and that level of mental fatigue, and we need to make sure that we're keeping that mental fatigue down. And then lastly, the weekly check-ins. This is basically an exercise in patience, in doing a consistent thing that is boring week over week over week over week on a consistent basis. If you are not consistent with anything related to your health, you're never going to get results. If I go lift 80 pounds in the gym 1 week and then don't touch it for 6 months, of course I'm not going to get stronger. If I go lift 30 pounds 1 week and don't get that extra consistency week over week, I'm not going to get any results. If I've got back pain and I do my core exercises from physio once, I'm not going to get results. It's about consistency over time and developing that skill. So again, this is not about these specific habits, yet we need them, of course, to make sure that we're able to coach you and that you're getting results. But it's about, or your inability to do them, if you are struggling with them, tells us that we actually need to do more coaching, not just abandon the program or not just find a different way. because these are critical skills to your fat loss journey. They're critical abilities or skill sets that you need to develop if you want to be successful. So if you notice yourself struggling with those, make sure you reach out to us. Make sure you let us know you're struggling with those. And then make sure you're in the mindset of the learner, of the student, that you want to develop the skill, that you're going to persist when it's hard. It's like that subject in school that maybe you struggled with that you pushed through, or maybe you weren't good at school and you didn't push through, and there's some other area of life you pushed through. Maybe it was somebody you really liked and you were persistent in getting to know them and you ended up dating them and marrying them. Whatever it is, it could be 50 different examples. Figure out what that is that you've persisted on in your life before and use that skill to develop these skills.